stretching my mouth.
We are streaming, but I always leave this on for 20 seconds, so because then it's the thumbnail. So
okay.
On Facebook. So just telling you that. So we're on, but we're not on until now. Now we're on.
All right, there we are.
Hey! Welcome to what's the echo? Where am I echoing from?
There you go.
Hey.
Hello. Yeah, I hear it.
What is that? Is there another? I don't think it's my. Let me see if I have this off.
Hello. Yeah, I hear it.
What's it from?
I don't know.
Hey.
Yeah.
Is it that? It's not supposed to be that. Say something.
Hello. Yeah.
I didn't even know this had a.
Hello. Yeah.
I didn't even know this had a sound on it. How do you turn it off?
Hello. Yeah.
How do you turn it off? I didn't even know this had sound. I never had that problem.
Do like the old TVs, have it on the side.
That's true.
Hello. Yep, still there.
I haven't had anything yet. What would it be? That is vomiting or something. No? Hey.
Hello. Still there.
Yeah. How can I turn it down? How can I get it off? Yes, I can't. Ugh. That's back. Center marker. And I was just telling you how I don't have any of these problems anymore. And then I have these problems. There we go.
Hello. There it is. Hello. Much gone.
There we go.
Much gone. It's gone.
That was troubling me.
Did you find the volume button?
Yeah.
Nice job.
Yeah. I'm a tech guru.
I
am a tech guru. I know how to turn down the sound on a.
You could just end it there. Right.
Hey Josh, play the intro. Do you know who that is? That is Alex Jones.
You love puppies?
Yeah. I didn't hear you.
I know, I'm not on.
Uh-oh.
Hang on. Am I on? I know I'm on.
I don't hear him.
I'm on. I get him.
Why can't I hear you? Talk.
Hello.
I can hear you now. So whatever you did, I can hear it. You didn't do anything?
He turned the volume up on his headset underneath the table. No, Stephen.
No, I can hear myself fine. I'm very loud.
Technical wizard.
This is the behind the scenes radio. We're gonna go do the show right now. We got.
You realize that Jim's no longer on the show?
Yes, I do. I do know that.
I would update that intro, that opening.
I only use it because it makes my son Joey angry. So I use it because he's like, "Why do you use that intro?" For the same reasons you're telling me. So I just use it.
I laugh. It makes Joey angry.
Yeah, it makes Joey angry.
He needs to switch the decaf or something.
Well, remember he does. He cuts up. At least he was cutting up all my videos for me, and so he would look at it every week and say, "Now Joey is is not looking for his dad anymore. Working for some other law firm."
Good. He's finally getting paid.
No, Dad was paying him more than. As I said, the guy's paying you less than me. Why are you going there? He said, He said, well, it's not about the money. I said, why when you work for me, it's about the money? You work for him, it's not about the money.
Yeah? Smart kid. I like this kid.
I don't get it.
I got to meet this guy.
You never met Joey?
I met Jake. I met Joey.
I know you met Jake.
Yeah, Jake and I was the, as you know,
Yes.
I was one of the original donators.
The original. You were the first.
Right, the original donator.
You know who else? You know who else then right after you who donated to him?
No.
Mr. Uline.
Oh, nice. But I was in front of Mr. Dick Uline.
Yes, you were in front. But so big, he's got some heavy hitters.
I'm sure he does. Dick,
Well, then you and Dick Uline.
well, I hold Dick's bag. That came out bad. That's not the way. I can't even hold a candle to what I have in my bank account is what Dick Uline makes for an interest on a monthly basis. He's done a job for himself, huh? Unbelievable. What a company they've built.
Yeah, and I hear some commercials now looking for hire more people.
I'm sure they are.
I would use Uline more than I do.
I use him all the time.
I try to, but I don't do a lot of packing.
Well, when I moved, I schlepped up. Here, you'll appreciate this. I kept running out of bubble wrap. Yes, we got pictures. You know, you live in a house for 15, 16, you have so much crap. So I ran out of boxes. I kept running to Home Depot. I'm like, this is dumb. I'm like, why am I running to Home Depot? I can have them drop shipped to my house, right? So I've got, I get all these boxes and I place an order and we're running low or getting ready to finish up. I'm like, I'm just going to run up to Wisconsin, pick it up. So I hop in my wife's SUV and I get all this stuff. I get the shrink wrap, the rolls of the plastic that go around to hold everything down. And I buy these ginormous rolls of bubble wrap. Gigantic rolls of bubble, 4.5, 5 feet tall. And I go up there in the SUV thinking I got this covered. Dude, it took everything I had. I popped some of the bubbles
To get it in?
My wife's SUV. The guy's like, it ain't going in. I'm like, dude, I ain't leaving here. I'm not coming back.
Coming back.
I ain't coming. I'm not doing another 80-mile round trip to get this bubble wrap. That son of a bitch is going in. He's like, it's not going in. I'm like, it's going in. Guess what? I rolled out of there. I think I cut up my entire arm banging that thing.
Well, you got to have it. You got to have that stuff. When I moved my office not too long ago, of course, I got to say, my wife did most of it.
I'm sure she did. Yeah. Your wife's a saint.
She is. Well,
she is.
She'd have to be, wouldn't she?
No, for the love of God. And that orchid, we haven't killed the orchid yet. The orchid is beautiful. We got it at Home Depot because I saw them.
I don't know.
As I went in.
I'll be honest with you. I don't know what she is. I thought she grew it herself.
Steve, I don't think so. But Steve, she's very talented, but not that talented. Steve came to my house and told him not to bring anything, and he rolls in. Here's Steve.
You got to bring something.
Trailing behind his smoke show wife holding an orchid. I'm like, she made you do that. He's like, here's your orchid. Shut up.
I was the Hochberg Casa.
Yes.
Very nice.
She wanted to leave.
It was a very nice event, David.
It was a great event.
It was a very nice event. I always told you when I walked in, I'm usually the last one to leave, and I was one of the last to leave.
No, Bob Ferguson was the last.
I said one of the last.
For the love of God. He's like, Dave, I got to tell you, you throw a really good party. I'm like, thanks, Bob. You told me that a half hour ago, and you're the last guy here. Guess what?
It was him and Erica were there.
No, him, Erica, and somebody else. I'm like, Bob, I love you, but I'm exhausted.
You gotta go home
to sleep. And I gave him a half hour. He's a good guy.
I was. I'm usually the last one to leave, but I'm also trying to be polite. So, I don't want to be the last one like you're throwing me out.
I will tell you, if Teresa wasn't there, your beautiful smoke show wife, you would have been the last one to leave. Because she's like, let's go, honey. You're like, come on, Teresa. I ordered you Uber. It's going to take 7 minutes. Let's go, Steve. We're leaving.
She's very bossy.
Oh.
I don't know if you know this about women. Maybe it's just married women.
Well, I'll leave it. You're owning this one. I love my wife, and it's Friday.
I do too, but women.
We're recording this on Friday.
Let's remember, the world revolves. We wouldn't have a world without women. Right?
Let's remember, you don't piss your wife off on a Friday afternoon going into the weekend.
That's but she doesn't. Unfortunately, my wife, she doesn't listen to the show. Does your wife listen to your show?
No. She doesn't even know. She doesn't know I have a radio show.
I've heard you say that.
She's like, where you going? I'm like, I'll be back in 2-3 hours.
It's like 3 or 4 now.
3 or 4. I got traffic.
Let us do the show, and then.
Is anybody watching this?
No, I don't know if anybody's watching. I don't pay attention because I just record it.
You got a good-looking chin. You know what's up with you?
Yeah, both of them.
Yeah, both of them. Very good. All right. Nice job.
Okay.
What you do?
Hey, welcome to the show. I am your host. I just told you who I was. I'm attorney Stephen A. Leahy. We're here at the Trust Radio Network with Joliet Josh, our technical producer. Remember now, this show is sponsored by the Law Office of Stephen A. Leahy, PC, and Open Tax Advocates. Open Tax Advocates helps business professionals solve IRS problems. You know what I found out about most people with IRS problems? They have one thing in common. They don't like to keep good records. And so that's what we help people keep good records and file their tax returns on time. Well, we'll get into that another time.
And they don't sleep well at night.
And they don't sleep well at night. That's absolutely true.
Sure.
I always tell people when they hire me that my goal is that you get a good night's sleep tonight. I always tell them, hand me your problem, and then don't worry about it anymore. If sometimes it's that easy, sometimes it's not. So anyway, with this, we help people with audits and levies, liens and garnishments, collections, unfiled tax returns, payroll tax issues, and tax planning. Don't overpay on your taxes. You can reach us at 312-664-6649. Visit us on the web at chicagotaxteam.com.
What does the PC stand for?
Professional corporation.
All right.
Yes. Okay. Just like you have to, whenever you have a corporation, you have to be an a corp. You have to say that at the end.
Okay.
Otherwise.
Compliance.
Yes. And I am all about compliance.
Yes, you are.
So we are the Trust Radio Network, where we introduce you to trusted professionals. Actually, I don't have to introduce you to our guest today because you probably heard of him before. Our guest today is mortgage professional David Hochberg.
Thank
you. Welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me. It's been a while.
It has been a while.
Yeah.
Were you the first guest on the Trust Radio Network?
I should have been.
If you weren't the first, you were the second. Because I know I asked you right away. So if you weren't the first, it's because you couldn't make it.
Right. And sometimes the second is better than being the first. Ask Avis.
Yes.
That's another story.
So again, I want to introduce David Hochberg.
Thank you for having me.
He is the mortgage professional, media personality, as my thumbnail says it to you. You're media. And you are a media personality. And I know we talk a lot of times, lots going on in the mortgage industry. But I don't want to talk about mortgages right now. Okay. What I'd like to talk about first, now I've been listening for full disclosure. I am a sponsor of David's show. And I listen to the show I've been listening to for a long time. And so I know a little bit about you.
Thank you.
Well,
very nice.
Well, because some radio people you listen to, you never know anything about them.
Sure. You know everything. I'm an open book.
You are an open book.
I don't hide anything.
But I wanted to talk about a little bit about like where first where'd you grow up, where'd you go to school, things like that. Because how did you get to where you are today?
Right.
And so tell us a little bit about yourself.
Born in Brooklyn, New York. Father got transferred out to the Chicagoland area when I was a young lad.
What kind of work did your dad do?
My dad he processed tax returns prior to the Macs and the desktops. CPAs.
Now, I did not know that.
Yes. My dad would process the tax returns that the CPAs did. So my mom, he had a facility off of Toohey in Lincolnwood.
Really?
Yeah, and he would basically take the tax returns. I would work for him. We unstapled them, and we made copies. So one copy went to the client, one copy went to the IRS, and one copy went back to and the originals went to the IRS, and then one or two copies either went to the tax preparer or the client.
Have you ever seen? I sometimes play a video of the IRS pipeline of the process that it used to take to process. I'll have to show you the video.
Yeah,
it's unbelievably labor intensive, as you know. Yes. As you know.
Well, that's my dad did. So we moved down here. Yeah. Then with the advent of the software, right, Quicken and all the other stuff, right, that listeners could do their own taxes. That industry went away. But I was in high school at the time, graduated Maine High School in '84, Northern Illinois in '88. I was a marketing major, got a job in the scrap iron and metal business.
Now, how did you do that? Did you just went and applied there? Was there something you wanted to do?
Northern had a great job placement program. I don't know if they still do. It was an hour outside of Chicago. Big companies, Chicagoland companies would come up and interview kids coming out of college, right, with a college degree. So they post the companies coming up. You'd send your resume in. They'd send them to the companies. The companies would select who they wanted to interview. They'd set up a time, location up at up somewhere in the university, and they would chew through 50 to 100 candidates in a day, and the students would have opportunities to interview with Chicagoland companies. It was great.
I'm always interested in how people, what the first job is out of it, because a lot of times that's what they do. That's what you do forever. And that's how you. I talk to a lot of attorneys. They're like, "What was your first job out of law school?" And it's almost always what they do now.
Yeah. Well, my first job out of law school. I didn't go to law school.
Well, you always talk about yourself about I didn't do very well in my ACT.
I did.
And
well, it depends. I got again an attorney. It depends. I took the ACT 3 times. I took the SAT once. I got 18 on my ACT each time I took it. So I figured I'm an 18. And I think I got an 840 on my SAT, which is horrible, compared to what the other smarter kids were getting. And I was a solid C+ guy, right? So I got a Northern. I couldn't get a Northern today. The standards are much higher than when they were when I went. Oh, yeah, a lot higher. So long story short, I was never a book smart guy.
Is it that you didn't take tests well? Is that what it was?
I don't know what it was.
Because obviously you're a smart guy.
You know what it was? It was the science section. I always got like a 6 or an 8 in the science.
I don't know what any of that means. What the numbers are and what that. But again, I know I know.
18 is average. 30, 33 or 36 is. I think 36 is perfect, right? So you got 12s on each section, and on the. There was English, math, and science. I think those were the 3 sections. And I would bomb on the science because I never took any science in high school. And that would knock my scores down to an 18. So I'm like, all right, I'm done with this. I got into Northern. I got into the University of Illinois in outdoor recreation. There's always a back door to get in. And I'm just like, but I had to get a B to transfer into the business school. And I'm like, there's no shot. I wasn't a B student in high school. I'm not going to go to University of Illinois and all of a sudden start mastering the art of studying. So I'm like, forget about this. I just went to Northern, had a great education, got a degree in business, emphasis in marketing, joined the fraternity, became secretary and treasurer and president of my fraternity, learned more outside the classroom. I got a great education. It's a great school. But I learned more doing things with the university, with my role as a senator. I ran for elected office, and I was elected as senator.
Really?
Of the student association, and I learned more there, and I learned more doing the activities of the treasurer and president.
I guess it is true. You can learn more around being in the university.
Yeah.
I was always a part-time student because I was always working after.
I got you.
But I know because I follow you because I know that you sold
stalker.
Mary Kay. Talk a little bit about Mary Kay.
Dated a gal.
What a great idea! I think.
It was genius.
I think so.
My high school girlfriend's mother, Gina Mariotti's mother, was like this big wig at Mary Kay. She's like, you should sell Mary Kay. I'm like, all right, I'll sell Mary Kay. So I signed up to sell Mary Kay, and I would do facials and makeup and skincare demonstration in front of sororities, like 100 girls. It was great. And I'd be walking down Greek Row with my pink cases. You can only imagine what these morons on on Greek Road.
But all the girls knew you.
At the fraternity house, we go, hey, you, I can't say it on the radio. And I'd be like, yeah, go stuff it, you bunch of jerk-offs. I'm going to a sorority with 100 girls, and they're all going to be looking at me and listening to me talk about how to take care of their skin care and buy makeup for me.
Okay, so you are a mortgage professional, and you help people buy homes and refinance. Tell people how they can find you.
855-56-DAVID is the phone number, which is 855-563-2843. Or they go to website 56david.com. We also have a show on another station.
Yes.
Every Saturday from 10 until 1.
He doesn't even know the time.
No, well, Northwestern football starting up, so now the
understand.
schedule's getting a little nutty. Like in this weekend, we're on from 2:30 whenever they're over till 6, but the regularly scheduled time is 10 until 1 on AM.
So I didn't even get to talk about a lot of things I wanted to. We'll do it in the next segment. Remember, this show is sponsored by Open Tax Advocates. We can help you solve your tax problems. 312-664-6649. We're going to take a break. David Hochberg is going to join us on the other side here on AM 560, The Answer. You didn't think I was going there, did you?
I don't know where you were going. Look at my hair. What the hell's going on up there?
It's not a mirror.
Well, yeah.
Let's go right into it.
Go right into it.
Otherwise, I'll talk to him all.
Roll tape. So it was a Wi-Fi that was.
Hey, welcome back to the show. We're here today with Joliet Josh, our technical producer, and our guest. He's our guest, David Hochberg. Welcome back to the program, David.
Thanks for kicking me up. I'm still here.
You're still here. That's right. I listen to your show, so and now you're on 3 hours on Saturday.
I know.
It's a long time.
Long time.
Of course, you used to have the show here on AM 560, The Answer.
1 to 3 was 2 hours here. And
Then the WLS.
The WLS came knocking, gave us an opportunity to move it there, a bigger station.
Take it out.
He's going to edit it out.
Yeah.
Oh, don't give him
Whatever.
Jeffrey's,
They're all friends.
They're all friends. We don't compete.
I gotta say, the Chicago radio market is pretty.
It's like the hollers of West Virginia. They all know each other. They're all related.
They've all worked together.
They all work together. It's like, and I've been to the hollers of West Virginia, and I know what I'm talking about. And most of them have got the same.
So here's what. Now again, we were talking about you went to college and what you did after college. But here's what I want you. I want to know. As you know, I have 2 sons, and both of my boys are in. I don't call them boys anymore. Both of my sons,
young men.
I don't call them that either. They're my sons, and they both are in law school.
Yeah.
But I was wondering what could you're. I'm laughing because you're more than reasonably successful. You're a successful guy.
You did all right.
So
far.
You've done all right.
Been a good run.
What kind of advice would you have for people in high school or not college and coming out of college?
Yeah, that's a great question. Do what you want to do and have a passion for what you do, right? So I was in the scrap iron and metal industry. I loved it. Loved them. Loved the people that I worked with. I loved going in and out of steel mills. Loved going in and out of foundries. Loved traveling around. You do concentric circles of states to meet all the different scrap.
Let me interrupt you because I just want to mention that because I've been in steel mills and stuff.
Phenomenal.
It is kind of awe-inspiring, isn't it? Because the work that gets done,
the size, of everything.
Just amazing,
and the magnitude and the power and the machinery,
it really is,
and the electric arcs and blast furnaces, with the integrated mills and the mini mills. It's just fascinating how you could take a bucket load of scrap and dump it into a 250-ton vessel, strike an arc in the electric mill, burn, start melting that scrap down at 2,750 degrees till it turns.
I don't know if I've ever seen you this excited.
Oh, it's the coolest thing. If you've never been to a steel mill, you got to see it.
I agree.
And then they throw the additives in to get the impurities out, and then they tap the furnace, and then the molten steel comes out.
Kind of amazing, yeah.
And then make bars or roll it or make sheets or whatever. It's just fascinating. And it got consolidated, and the industry was on its rear end, and I saw a lot of people making a ton of money in the scrap industry in August of 2000. In August of 2000, the economy was hurting. We were charging industrial plants $500 or $300 to pick their scrap up just to cover the trucking costs, right, and the equipment costs to pull the scrap out of their plant because there was no market for it. And I got into the mortgage industry because I saw a lot of my friends making a ton of money, and I knew that I was a better salesperson
in the mortgage industry.
In the mortgage industry, because it was wild back then, right? Everybody was going to the mortgage industry. So I went in. I ran into a buddy of mine in Tuscany and Wheeling, made that restaurant rest in peace. It's no longer there. And we were at the valet getting our cars. Here comes my Bonneville SLE with the chrome wheels and the leather, because I had to go in and out of steel mills and foundries, an American-made car. Made that mistake once, never did that again.
You mean go in without American?
Well, I went into Ford. I had to go to Ford because they sent the new kid up to Ford for an ISO 9000 meeting that nobody wanted to go to, so they sent me up to Ford. I go rent a car. I got a Buick, right? So I go into the Ford Rouge plant and driving around. It's like going into a city if you've never been to a steel mill. It's got its own zip code. And I'm driving up, and I pull up to these two steel mill guys, two iron workers. I'm like, hey, I'm looking for building A123. They're like, yeah, we know where it is. And we tell you if you were driving a Ford. I'm like, okay.
I think if you went back in those days, if you went in with a foreign car,
oh, they wouldn't talk to you, and they cut you. Okay, so that was like
it was.
Oh, it was pretty rough.
Yeah.
So it was rough driving in with the Buick. They wouldn't talk to you. It was an American-made car. So learned that lesson. So Brian Fishman pulls up behind me. My buddy I grew up around the corner with. He got in right out of college, like about 12 years before me. He was killing it. He drives up. They pull up his car, Mercedes 500, right? S500 class. So I'm like, oh, you're doing all right. He's like, yeah. I'm like, what do you do? He's like, oh, I'm in the mortgage business. I'm like, yeah, I'm thinking about making a move. He's like, I can't train you. I'm too busy. So I went to the guy that did my loan, and I made the switch August of 2000, and just started doing loans. Didn't know anything about mortgages. I just knew that it's what everybody was doing, and I was a better salesperson than them, and turned out right. I'll never forget. I came home. I had my box of stuff from the office, and I was engaged to get married, and my wife was there, and she fiance at the time. And she goes, what are you doing home? Like, I just quit. She's like 28, 29. She's like, what? She's in grad school. She's like, you just quit. I'm like, yeah, try something else. She's like, we're getting married in 5 months. I'm like, me, all right? No idea. I had some savings. Yeah, whatever, right? So throw it against the wall. It was August of 2000. Got lucky, did a loan for a couple of guys, a couple of realtors that hung out with Kevin Matthews back in the day when he was on WCKG. Got in with them, and then started advertising on the radio, and the rest was history. And they were in the back of a limo with Mo Driver, Kevin Matthews' sidekick. They're like, yeah, we're in the back of a limo with Mo Driver. We're on the way to Joliet for a live remote. I'm like, number one, no shot, you idiots are in the back of a limo with Mo Driver. Okay, so I'm like, yeah, talk to him. Hey, buddy. I'm like, that's Mo Driver, right? Because I was a huge Kevhead fan back in the day.
As I was.
And he goes,
and Jimmy Shorts.
And Jimmy Shorts, and Dorothy, and the whole crew of idiots. That was hysterical. Which was my ute, right? I mean, that's what I listened to driving around the cornfields, right? So, long story short, I go, he's like, you're never going to get me a loan. My credit sucks. I'm like, if I get you, I'll get you a loan. But when I get you a loan, you're going to get me on the radio. He's like, okay. Never thinking I'd get him a loan. So I got him a loan. Toughest loan they ever did. Got him in, and showed up at his house after it closed with 2 bags of groceries, Staples, and 2 $100 gift cards to Maggiano's. He moved to Evanston. He bought a place in Evanston, where Evanston is close to Old Orchard, and Skokie over by there. And I showed up Saturday morning. I dropped off the groceries. I'm like, here, pick up some dinner at Maggiano's in Old Orchard. When am I going to be on the radio? He said, hey, stop by Wednesday. Came on Wednesday. Went in the studio. Never was in the studio before. I go, how's this work? He's like, all right, here's what it's going to be. I'm going to start the show, and I'm going to bring you on the second segment. He goes, if you're good, we keep going. If you suck, I'm blowing you out, and I paid you off. I was right. Got on, started answering questions. Phone line started blowing up at 8, 10. phone lines. We answered questions for 45 minutes straight. Took me from 7:45 to 8 o'clock, top of the hour. He's like, why don't you give your phone number? I was just answering listeners' questions. I wasn't like, call me. It was like, yeah, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. I was just helping people, helping his listeners. And he's like, why don't you give your phone number? I'm like, all right, get my phone number out, 312, whatever, 896, whatever. And at the time, I had my old BlackBerry, right? And they broadcast from the Prudential Plaza. And the Prudential Plaza had horrible cell service back then, right? So I go to the garage, which is in the bunker. It's like 8 layers down the Prudential Plaza. Come up, and it spits you out in Lower Wacker Drive. Finally get a signal, 25, 30 messages on myself. Swear to God. It's crazy.
As you know, that doesn't happen all the time.
Doesn't happen. So I start making calls on the way home. It's like old Jed hit, was shooting at the raccoon and hit the oil well. So that I'm just like, I got something here.
Radio works.
I got something really, really good here, and we just I start advertising.
So we got about a minute left. I'm gonna give you an opportunity to give your number here.
Yeah.
I'm not going to promise you 25 calls.
But I'll take one.
I'd like to get you one.
Saturday at 7. Yeah,
it's a tough time. It's a tough. It's a tough market.
I got it. It's tough right now. Rates are in the 6s. Yeah.
Tell people how they can find
it. 855-56-DAVID, which is 855-563-2843, or you go to our website, 56david.com.
It's funny because 6s used to be good. I remember when 6s were good.
6s are great. It depends when you use them. Leave it alone.
Very good.
Move it out.
We're gonna
take a quick break and be right back.
We're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna come back with the Constitution segment, and I have a question for David about the Constitution, and we're gonna talk about the Constitution. You won't want to miss it. Remember, Open Tax Advocates, 312-664-6649. Again, we're gonna take a little break, pay some bills, come back on the other side. AM 560, The Answer.
You think the concept? That's what she texted me. Still matters.
Read the question. Give us the question, and then answer.
Tell me when you're ready.
We're ready. We're doing it
right now.
You're gonna go.
You got to rejoin?
Oh yeah, we're gonna. You'll hear.
Does Joliet like doing the show?
Huh?
Does Joliet like working?
Oh yeah. He pretends to be. That's my nickname for him. Joliet. Joliet's my nickname for him. Because he's from Joliet. I like to use the...
I like the song.
What? What's that? I didn't hear the intro. I didn't hear it.
Redo it.
You didn't do the Constitution. Did you?
He screwed up and blaming you.
Yeah.
He's trying to slide it underneath. That was good.
Am I right? And let's keep it that way, Ronnie. Thanks so much. It is the Trust Radio Network here on AM 560. The Answer here with Joliet Josh, and who never makes a mistake.
Never.
And our guest this week is David Hochberg. And, David, I always do this Constitution segment. I give an opportunity for our guests to talk about the Constitution. And you just recently had, it's just a coincidence, but you have a daughter in college, and she sent you. Tell us what she asked you.
I'm sitting at lunch yesterday, a lunch meeting with the DuPage County, Illinois Chiefs of Police. It's an organization that...
You spend a lot of time with them, don't you?
I spend a lot of time with the Illinois Chiefs of Police. It's a fine organization. We launched a affinity program with them, and Lombard Chief Newton invited me in to meet all the chiefs. There were 88 people there yesterday. It was a great meeting. And in the middle of the meeting, while one of the chiefs was standing up, Martin, I believe is Chief Mayton from Lamont. I'm screwing up his name. Great guy, very, very smart.
Is that the first time you ever screwed up a name?
No, I screw it up all the time. It's the first time on this show.
I'm just
I
kidding.
know. Stay in your lane. So the chief from Lamont stood up, was given a great dissertation about the new laws and what the cops should be aware of and the chief should be aware of. And I get this text from my daughter. I said West Virginia. That I'm not going back to that. It had nothing to do with the other. My daughter, who's a freshman in college, sends me a text. Do you think the Constitution still matters? At 11:40 yesterday, while I'm sitting at lunch, I'm kind of at a lunch meeting right now, but I'd love to help you out. Like, why are you asking me? She's like, I have to do a 3-page paper for my class, and it's due on Monday. I go, yes, I do think it still matters. I'll call you when I'm out of the meeting here, and we'll talk about it in more detail. So kind of ironic that I'm on your show as a last-minute fill-in, which I feel honored to be. Hey, I don't have anybody. What are you doing? I'm like, I'll be there for you, Steve.
I've done it for you, David.
You've done that for me? I'm like, I'm not just coming down for one segment. I'm taking the whole damn show. That's why you're stuck in me.
Exactly.
So I thought that was great. And so I said, yeah, I still think it matters. Absolutely.
Well, tell us why.
Listen. I'm a proud American. I believe in I'm a huge history buff. I believe that our country was founded on principles and on liberty and being free of tyranny of a king.
Are you surprised that question is even asked?
I've been trying to get a hold of her for the past basically 24 hours. I'm going out right now, Dad. Sorry, I just called her driving here. I'm kind of tied up right now, Dad. Like you got this paper, dude. You're calling me, asking me this question. Now I got the paper in my head. Let's get the paper done. That's just me, my A-type personality. No, I think it's a lot of things are going on in this country. Obviously, she went to. I'm like, well, what do you think? Right? I just don't want to be answering her question. She's like, well, not really. I go, well, why do you think not really? Well, and she's hung up on the Supreme Court, right? She's like, well, I think the courts are broken. I said, okay, out of the mouth of a 19-year-old. I go, okay. Why do you think challenge her a little bit? I'm like, why do you think the courts are broken? Well, I don't think that. I think 8-year terms on the Supreme Court, and I'm not a big fan of or supporter of the lifetime because of all the different rulings and everything. I go, okay, I can see your point there. And then she's like, Dad, I have to go right now. Things are busy. I got to go. I'm like, okay. So then,
I think that the question, and that's my own opinion is, I think that they've been kind of pushing us this way that people should question this. Not questioning is good. Questioning is good.
And you don't know the context in which it was answered.
No,
right?
I understand. But I say the questioning is good. But just the teachers ask that question. Nobody ever asked me that question.
Nobody asked me that question. Right?
Does it matter? Because we all just assumed, of course it matters.
I've been out of college. I'm 55 years old. I haven't been to college in 35 some years, right? 32, 35 years. It's a great thought-provoking question. Starts a lot of conversation, stimulates different sides, and gets the college kid's brain start firing instead of just...
I'm all for everybody thinking about the Constitution.
Absolutely.
Reading the Constitution.
100%.
And then debating the Constitution.
We have different interpretations of the Constitution.
Yes.
The limits and the rules and the powers.
Tell people how they can find you, David.
855-56-DAVID, which is my phone number, which stands for 855-563-2843, or you could go to our website, 56david.com.
Well, thanks so much for that. I think I always want to talk about the Constitution and how everybody's opinion.
It's what everything's based upon in our country.
I agree.
Agree or disagree.
We all should take an interest in it. So we're going to take a break. David's going to join us for another segment here on AM 560. The Answer.
You get any business out of this?
What's that?
You get any business from the show? You get any business from the show?
This one?
Yeah.
It's really about referrals.
Right. Right. Well, I mean, from the referrals.
So I get some.
I don't send me. Did you ever close that wackadoo who's getting who had made him?
Let's not talk. Hey, let's.
I forgot.
Let's do the.
I thought you were going to say which one.
Let's do it, Joliet.
He's looking at me like, "What's wrong with you? This guy's supposed to be successful. Does he realize you're live streaming everything?"
Hey, welcome back to the program. We're here with Joliet Josh, our technical producer, and our guest this week is mortgage professional David Hochberg.
And swimsuit model.
Even after your
weight loss.
Yeah.
A lot better swimsuit model.
As I tell you, David, you lost some weight. Turn around. I think I found it. Anyway, I've been getting a note. I've been talking about you, but we're gonna take this segment. Give us some. Since I got the mortgage guy here, let's talk about. Give me the most common questions you're getting now about mortgages.
Why can't they get a 3% 30-year fixed loan? Well, I thought the rates were in the threes. Yeah. In January of this year, they haven't been in the threes since we went into February of this year. So, a lot of our listeners out there, a lot of your listeners, still are living in the past because they don't want to realize or accept that a 30-year fixed is either going to start with a 5 or a 6 today, and it's a lot more expensive to finance your house. It's just a fact. If you bought gas in December of 2021, you probably would have paid around $2 a gallon. Would have started with a 2. Now it starts with a 4. Okay, that's not my fault.
I was going to ask you, do people blame you?
No, people think I'm pulling their leg. I'm just like, I come in every day, I open up my rate sheets, I hit the button, I look at the 10-year note, and I see what the 10-year is doing, because that's what mortgage rates are based upon, right? The Fed fund rates are what controls. The Fed controls the fund rates, which is the short-term rates, which impact your car loans, your credit cards, your home equity line of credit. A lot of our listeners don't understand that. So when they say that, well, the Fed is going to probably increase rates again, probably most likely 3/4 of a point coming up here, and but listen, it's been jumping up since March. Okay, interest rates have been going up since January. The Fed started inching up rates in March and hasn't stopped. Okay, so. And on the way out here, I was listening to CNBC. We could say that here, right? It's a radio, it's a financial television show, and they said that the Fed was going to tighten it even more until there's pain, is what was said. So here's where we're at, Steve. You have to come to realization that I was on the radio last year at this time, encouraging everyone to sell their home if you were going to sell your home, because values were at record highs. Okay, and there is documentation of me pleading with listeners to sell your homes and find a place to rent, because the run that we had, the 30-month run, was unsustainable, because eventually rates were going to go up, and then it was going to be more expensive to buy homes. We're there. Okay, so what's happening? We're starting to see values start to retract 5-10%. We had a house down the street, 3 houses down from me, sell for 9% off the list price. If they would have done it at this time last year, they would have gotten $50,000 more, and they would have sold it in 3 days, instead of it being on the market and having the permaseal truck in their driveway fixing all the leaks that were whatever permaseal was doing in the house. A year ago at this time, you would have had 15, 20 offers within 3 days, and you would have sold it for as is $25,000 to $50,000 more. Now, the hammer's in the other hand. Sellers are at the mercy of the buyers, because it's still a fluid market, But prices are coming down because the rates were going up, and you hit that inflection point. You just can't afford as much of a home with these higher rates. So there's a pullback. Okay, home permits are down, buildings down. We're there. So
I want to interrupt you because we're going to run out of time.
It's your show.
Well, that's that too.
You're
But I wanted to interrupt you because what I wanted to tell you is that I've been in the car with you many times when people call you about a loan and they're looking for a loan and you're talking to them about talking them through their loan.
Yep.
Many times you don't even wind up helping them, but you'll answer questions for
100%,
people.
100%.
And that's, I think, your show is really about answering questions,
it's helping listeners understand the right way to do things and get the right answer. You've been on our show, on your show. It's your show too. You've been there. People call in. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't recommend that. Here's what I would do. You don't make any money on them. You're just there to be a steady expert in your field that they could rely upon. That's going to be there in every 4 to 6 weeks. That's what I mean by steady. You're not so steady when you stand up, but that's what I mean. You're always there when our listeners need help. You've been there for years. You've been here for years. You've been on the radio as a radio IRS answer man, and that's what our show's all about. That's what I'm all about. Listen, when I was on Sean the other day, and he was busting my chops about whatever because he's Sean. He can't help himself. He could barely see over the freaking console in that new studio.
Stop it.
They got to get a step stool for that little midget. But height challenge radio host. But the point I'm trying to make is, we always give the advice that's best for the listener, not what's best for us, because it always comes back 5-6 times.
So I'm going to encourage people, if you have a question about mortgages, you should call David at 56-DAVID. What is 855-56-DAVID?
Well, look at this guy.
Is it 855?
It's 855-56-DAVID.
I just gave it. That was right.
563-2843. You weren't sure, though. So
well, because I was going to say 56david.com. But what I would say, give David a call. I've been in the car with him. People call. They have questions. He spends the time and answers your questions.
We don't charge.
And you don't charge him anything. And so if you have a question, call David. He will answer your question about mortgages. And I know you have a lot of questions.
Please send that clip to Sean.
If you have tax trouble, don't call David. Call Open Tax Advocates.
Please don't call me.
312-664-6649. We're going to take a break. We're going to pay some bills. And then we're gonna come back and talk to David and close out the show. You don't want to miss it here on AM 560. The Answer.
You've got 5 segments?
Yeah. Last one's very short.
Right, it's like a minute.
That's like 4 minutes.
4 minutes.
Yeah.
I had him do my clock quarter hour.
And then, I didn't have the choice.
You should do
Although, here's another thing my son Joey always complains about. Because at the end, we have a long out, with the guy. Do out of joints. Joey hates that because he's like, they're taking up all your time, Dad.
You're paying for that.
So, I'm surprised you never met Joe. Jake always says Joe's the smart one. I don't know if that's true. They're both pretty sharp. They're both pretty sharp. So I give them a lot of credit.
So Jake's had he's had a being Mr. Entrepreneur. Is he still an entrepreneur? Is he still an entrepreneur and just not renting office
I don't
space?
know what he's going to do. He's got an office in my office. He's got a desk in my office. So he spends a lot of time in my office. He studies there, and he's got a good setup there. And
still working for what's his name?
Yeah.
Peck Ritchie?
Peck Ritchie, yes.
What's the guy's name?
His name is Kerry Peck.
Kerry Peck.
He's been on our show. We saw him at the 100th anniversary
he
there.
didn't call me back. He never called. I called him 3 times. He hasn't called me back.
I have to. I don't have him.
Yeah,
Although I got him, because he was on the show, I said, my son's looking. Jake calls. Hey, ask him if he's got a spot. And so I asked him. He said, we are hiring. Can't promise you anything. I said, I'm not asking for a problem. Just consider it.
Get him in.
And so he went in, and Jake, and then the guy, I was told now, I don't know if this was Kerry Peck, so his son works there, Kerry Peck's son, older man. And he said to Jake, you got a pretty good resume for a kid. you sure you want this job? And Jake said, can you hire me as an attorney? And he said, no. He said, I'll take that job.
Can't hire me as an attorney, but you can hire me somewhere else. I'll take that.
So he's almost done with law school already.
Wow.
So he's
2.5 years.
He's always on that kid's always. I always said about Jake before that Jake was different than most kids because he understood that life was a marathon and not a sprint. But yet he's still sprinting through life. I think because he's in a hurry to start doing what he wants to do.
What do you want to do?
He wants to give advice to people. That's what attorneys. As you know, he's on the school board and all this. And so, he's always been involved in that. And I think as an attorney, he'll be. He always laughs because, you got older men like myself asking him for advice about politics. I'm going to be honest with you. I would never ask him because he and I don't see eye to eye.
Really?
Not about politics. Younger people are more libertarian than me, and
he's still conservative.
But he is kind of. He's a Republican, I guess in that he's more of a Republican than I am, because a lot of Republicans I don't really like, especially here in Illinois. Now I am a precinct committeeman, though. I ran for precinct committeeman again. I was a precinct committeeman some years ago.
This guy, who's running in Illinois? What's this jerk off?
Bailey.
He's
blowing it.
I'll bet you steak dinner he doesn't get 35% of the vote.
I think he'll get 35. But I think you can sleep and get 35. You can run because there's at least 35% of these people that will never vote for Pritzker in particular. There's at least 35% that would vote for anybody.
You see the new ad that's out now? How some lady from saying, yeah, my mother was in the Holocaust. And when I heard, dude, how do you say the Holocaust is like abortion? Well,
because they're both tragedies.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion.
Right.
They're both tragedies. I get it. You're not supposed to ever talk about.
Don't talk the Holocaust.
I get it.
Stay away from that. Don't say the N-word. Don't say the Holocaust. The N-words, you're gonna piss out the black people.
Even if
Holocaust, you're gonna piss
even
out
if you're repeating what somebody else said,
right?
Don't
say.
Even if you're singing a song that has it in it, don't say.
And don't call midgets a tight challenge because you're gonna piss out small people.
Like you just did. Let us do the final segment. Nobody will listen to this show. Nobody will listen to this show unless you say something bad. Then everybody will hear.
True. Well, we got 4 minutes. Let's really burn it down.
Well, hey, welcome back to the program. This is the Trust Radio Network. We're here with Joliet Josh. How would we do it without you, Joliet? We wouldn't, because there wouldn't be any sound.
No sound. Might be the best show you've ever done.
That's true. This show might be the best show I've ever done, David.
Well, this has sound.
I'm talking about because of the guest.
Sure.
I have to brown nose the guest.
You do. No, when are you going to start? You got 3 minutes.
I actually like today's. I didn't have anything planned for you today, but I'm glad that I found out about your dad in Texas. Yeah. So we have some connection.
Limited, very remote, but some. It's there.
Taxes.
Yeah, taxes, IRS.
You pay taxes too?
I pay a lot of taxes.
I pay taxes too. Joliet, do you pay taxes? He paid taxes. We're all connected.
I'm about ready to pay. I got my extension coming up October 15th.
Well, I know that that you've already paid your taxes.
I've already paid. I paid some of it.
Well,
never enough.
Well, that's the truth.
Never enough.
It's never. But
I'm happy to pay tax. In case the IRS is listening.
I understand. I could go on and on about this because this is.
That's your job.
Well, I talk a lot about the IRS and I read as much as I can about it. And this is like the heyday now because there's so much going on with the IRS and everybody's out there. 87,000 new people, and then you hear the commissioner yesterday. I want to correct some of these errors out there. There are people saying that 87,000 new people are all going to be armed. I've never heard anybody say that. But he puts up these straw men and then knocks them down and then he says, "See, they're all lying." No, they're not lying. But
well,
anyway,
if they could get some people to answer the phones, would be great. Right. As you know,
1 in 9.
You can't get through to the IRS.
So this is what I read yesterday too: is that the IRS is going to start spending them $80 billion by trying to, and that would be a good PR move if they could start answering the phone
and maybe refunding people's money faster.
Well, here's what I learned:
it's crazy.
There's such a big, and now they're going to double. There's such a big bureaucracy; they really can't do anything.
But if
I asked you this before, do you know what the budget is?
A lot.
What
I do not know.
$14 billion before the $80 billion.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. And when they tell you, we don't have enough money to answer the phone. And that's why I wanted to talk to you. I told you about the pipeline. I want to show you this link.
Yeah.
Because now, the last time I saw, 93% of all tax returns are now done electronically. So all of that high labor that they used to have.
What are they doing with all that? Right. So it's all going to be, it's all automated now.
It's all automated. So they don't need it. So in 95, well, I don't know. I can go on. This is about David, not about Steve.
No, it's all right. Go ahead.
Tell people how they can find you.
855-56-DAVID, which is 855-563-2843. Or you can go to our website, 56david.com.
And I'm not kidding. If you have a question, call David. He'll answer the question for you. He's not going to try to sell you either. If you need him, you'll hire him. If you don't, he'll answer the questions. I've seen it 100 times or more.
Yeah.
So give David a call. Thanks so much for joining us here today, David. Saving my show. I appreciate it. We're going to be back next week. In the meantime, if you're having tax problems, call Open Tax Advocates, 312-664-6649. Thanks so much, Joliet, and we'll see you next week here on AM 560, The Answer. See, this is the part that my son wants to cut. Cut this part. Cool. This guy talking.
Well, way down.
We have to. It's fluff. I don't like to change things. We got to write off the streaming, so you have to say goodbye streaming.
That's the best part of the show. That guy talking.
Well, he actually is the radio guy.
Have you ever met him?
I have not. Have you?
No. The big radio
Does he exist?
He's got to exist.
I see he does all this stuff for all Salem. Does he, Joliet? He's not listening. Does the guy who does that voice, does he do it for all Salem?
What about Salem? Yeah.
Both of them.
I hear that Salem radio is
all three of them.
All three of them. The beef sandwich and the Rico Benny breaded steak.
You know, I do. It's like, my favorite beef here is Johnny's. I love that Johnny's
down
beef.
The street.
Yeah, I love it. But it's Friday, so I don't eat meat on Friday. So which is good because then I don't stop and eat Johnny's beef. So today I go to Rosati's and eat my. They have a special pizza for me.
Oh, do they? What do you get on it? Peppers?
On Fridays, I get double cheese.
Well done.
Extra garlic.
Nice.
That's what I get.
Nice. I like the garlic.
Nothing. She never even notices.
She doesn't.
Unfortunately.
Okay.
And I drink my old style, then I go home. Today we're going to have a draft, a football draft. My niece is pushing it. No. I saw her this morning. I said, "What are you doing here?" Because she's back at her mom's next door to me. And she said, "Well, we got the draft tonight." I said, "Oh yeah, I texted you about it." Okay, I need it. Well, that's a bit. And if I draft with my heart, I'll be
all bear.
I'll be. Matthew Stafford was my quarterback, and I tanked. After the draft last year, though, I was like the top team. I was the team to beat.
Ranked?
I was not the top. I was not the team.
You got to pick the right players.
You have to be more involved in it. You have to change your bench and all this and this, and that's where I kind of fall down.
Work.
What I'm gonna do this year is I'm gonna look to Joliet every weekend, and he's because he's the sports guy, so he knows everything. I don't know it. No. And if I don't win, I'll say, and he's the sports guy.
Yeah, this guy sucks. Thank God he can fall back to producing radio. Now, what do we got to do to get the hell out of here?
Well, I'm going to say goodbye. Say goodbye.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here.
Appreciate it.
Out till next time.
Out till next time.